Yo, Elliott, I've had some major revelations last week about God. It's crazy all the perfectly timed, painful lessons God has helped me with. I've recently realized these were God's messages to me saying, dude, get your ish together. Luckily, I always responded positively to these painful experiences. Your video recently about being humble has had a huge effect on me. Not to think my problems are the world's problems, and instead look at the lessons of these problems. I know I get slightly off topic, but as I build my relationship with God and figure out which religion is for me, how do you recommend I go about that? I'm struggling with choosing which religion is for me. I appreciate you so much, man. Your advice to men is so much different than most of these guys on the internet. And whenever I need some guidance and wisdom, I listen to you. Thanks again. Just as I said earlier, brother, be a baby. Be a baby in matters of faith. What do I mean by that, being a baby? Being a baby means let yourself be in God's arms and let him carry you. Let him feed you. Let him whisper in your ear. The problem with a lot of us is that we're trying to do it. And you know, as a member in this King Transformation program, the final crown, jewel in your crown in this program is to be. What is to be? It's so mystical, it's so strange, and it eludes us so many times. What is to be? The king aspect is being, right? We talk about being, thinking, doing, and feeling, right? Feeling is lover. Doing is warrior. Thinking is magician. The king allows himself to be. But we have this misconception about the king in that we think that the king does stuff. He figures it out and he gets it done, but that's not the truth at all. Even the king's crown with its points represent the antenna through which he receives revelation from God. He's got to be yielding. A king is yielding to the power of God. A king doesn't have his own power. Did you know that? This is so strange for people to understand. A king doesn't give himself power. A king doesn't give himself power. A king is a conduit and requires two things. He requires God to establish him and speak to him and work through him, and the people to yield to him, but not to him, but to God. The people to believe he's a king. But if a king thinks himself important, if a king thinks himself mighty, if a king thinks himself capable of doing it all without revelation from above, he's no king at all. The type of king that I want to see you become is a baby king. Like Jesus, a baby king. What a great analogy the life of Christ is for how to allow God to speak into our life. Just think about the angelic salutation. Mary, a 15-year-old girl, just chilling one day. And what happens? The angel of the Lord comes to her. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with thee. The angel comes to Mary in order to ask for her yielding. Mary, and it's so funny. God is so good. Our God is so good that he doesn't rape Mary. He doesn't force himself on Mary the same way he don't force himself on you. That's a lesson for us. That's a mystery. It's the first mystery. It's the very first mystery of the faith. The angelic salutation. God comes to a woman, a poor woman, young lady. Mary shows us by her words, do as you wish. I forget how exactly her words. It's in the angelic. If you ever read the Angelus, you should pray the Angelus. I don't. I pray the Rosary instead. The Angelus is, let it be unto me. Let it be unto me. Mary says, let it be unto me, right? Let it happen to me. You're asking me about what to choose. And I'm asking you to be more like Mary. Let it be what you want. Then the example of Christ. He comes as a baby. What is a baby? Baby is helpless, but carries all the potential in the world. A baby is helpless, but carries tremendous potential, but must yield to the power of his superior, those who care for him. Be like a baby in God's arms. Let him carry you. Let him nurse you. Let him whisper in your ears and raise you up. But that can't happen if you're not a baby. It can't happen if you're a man. Or let me put it this way. It can happen, baby king. I love this. I love this. So symbolic, the faith. A baby king. That king, that baby is more powerful than the king of the time. Who was the king of Rome at the time? Augustus, Caesar Augustus, and Pontius Pilate, the governor. Even the Pharisees, who carry all the weight in their culture. The baby king is more powerful than all. That baby can't do anything for itself, but watch how God protected him. You know about the slaughtering of the innocents. The wise men of the time were privy to the fact that a Savior has come. And the governors at the time recognized, the king at the time recognized, oh, we got to kill this baby before he gets grown. God protected that baby the same way God will protect you. Jesus shows us the way through his example. Be a baby once again. The king is a baby. The baby is a king. Be a baby and you will become a king. You'll allow yourself to be. Now I'm waxing poetic here. Let me go back to your question. How do you recommend going about that? He says, I got slightly off topic. I want to build my relationship with God and figure out which religion is for me. How do I go about that? Here's some practical advice. First of all, your sentiment, I have to just reiterate one more time, your sentiment is key. Where you come from is super key, which means don't try to figure it out. Don't try to figure it out for yourself. Because there's too many books to read. There's too much scriptures to read. There's too many people to listen to. Don't listen to anybody. Protestants are funny too because they think the Bible is some kind of magical book that fell out of the sky. And they say, oh, just read your Bible. Don't read the Bible because you're going to get more confused. It's just more words. You got to go directly to the source. You got to submit yourself to the will of the Lord and say, God, carry me, show me. Deliver it to me. And you're going to get a prompting. And the first prompting, it's tough because it's hard to discern what's coming from God or what's coming from Satan. And that's why you always keep into your heart, Lord, if this be of you, let it be. But if it not be of you, take it away from me. If you ever have to struggle, you ever have to strive, you ever have to fight, you know that you're fighting against God. And that the Satan is in your ear telling you you need to work harder. You need to read more. You don't know the real truth. What about all those other people that say otherwise? Satan's going to get to you if you get in your head and you try to do this off of information. You can't do that. Don't read no more books. Don't even listen to me. Get down on your knees and open up your arms. Get down on your forehead. Prostrate yourself. Beat your chest. Help me, Lord. I can't do it. Humble yourself. And allow the Lord to reveal it to you. But you got to trust. And here's the thing, brother. God's putting you exactly where you are right now for a very good reason, because all of what you asked me about religion and relationship with God had everything to do with faith. So right now, you're getting the first lesson that he wants you to have. right? Because if you try to figure it out, it means you don't have no faith. You're using your will. You're being willful. Don't have no will. Just like I told you my story last time. I had no will in it. I gave up. People say, oh, never give up, right? I even had, other Christian friends that when they found out I was Catholic, they were like, are you just going to close your mind now and you're going to stop seeking and you're never, like to me, they're saying that the journey of seeking never ends. I was like, no, I'm done. I don't need to seek anymore. I am in God's arms. And if God carries me somewhere else, I'm just going to go there because he said so. I'm not figuring this out. And so you can't figure it out either. Pray. Pray that thy will be done in you. Tomorrow is Good Friday. I'll offer you this little bit of practical advice. Do what you want with it. Tomorrow's Good Friday. They call it Good Friday, but it was a tough day. We just watched The Passion of Christ, me and my kids. The Christ's passion begins with his prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane. The whole movie starts with this. When we do the sorrowful mysteries in the rosary, it begins with Christ in the garden. And his prayer in the garden is an example for how we are to pray. Christ himself in the garden pleads with God the same way you pleading right now. Christ himself, this is what's so beautiful about God giving himself to us through his son, because he stands with us. Christ's pain is our pain. God came to us through Christ in order to show us that he stands with us, that he knows, hey, I know God's like this. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to be human. I know it's confusing. I know it's tough. I'm going to show you that I know by humbling myself and revealing myself in the incarnation of my son, Jesus Christ. That's why God is so good. Our God is so good because he didn't leave us alone. Our God never leaves us alone. And that's why he showed up. What God does that? I think of all the New Age religions and stuff and different gods of the East and stuff. These guys don't hang out with us. Just think about the Greek gods. They don't hang out with us. They don't come down here to be with us and suffer with us and to have compassion with us, to say, I know it's tough, and receive the worst treatment. Our God did that. And on his way to that horrible treatment, he shows us his humanity, but also shows us his strength. In the garden, they say he's weighed down by the sins of the world, and he's pleading with God. He's pleading with the Father. This shows his human side. Father, please, if this, he knows where he's going. He knows he's going to die. If this can be taken away from me, if you could take this chalice away from me, please do. I don't want to suffer like this. That's like you right now. God, I don't want to be confused. I don't want to suffer right now. I don't want to be wrong about you. The same prayer. Jesus made the same prayer in the garden, but he finished with this, and this is where you should finish. Let it be done with this. And that's funny, that's what he says. Christ says, but if it be thy will, let it be done unto me. That's the only prayer you really need. Not that's the only one, but it's the most powerful prayer that you can use the Easter season as an opportunity to plant the seed of death and rebirth in your heart. I don't think it's a coincidence that you bring this question up today. Meditate on the passion of Christ over the course of the next 48 hours and his resurrection. And I think your answer will be given to you. I can't give you that answer. You can't find that answer out yourself. You got to ask for it. You got to receive it like a baby or like Christ in the garden. So that's it. That's all. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion on that, brother. I once again, as is with the previous question, I wish you the best on your journey, and I pray that you come to the truth. You got it, Nick. Done. Did you know that there's a secret psychological and social war on masculinity in the West since at least the 1960s? If you think I'm crazy, you need to watch my new free masterclass. You'll learn the history and origin of this war, as well as how it's affecting your health, your finances, and how females respond to you. If you're a man who's open to a compelling vision of traditional masculinity, financial freedom, success with women, and generous leadership, then you'll definitely want to study this class. It's called Make Men Strong Again, How Millions of Men Are Fighting Back and Winning the War Against Masculinity. Just click the link in this video or visit MakeMenStrongAgain.com and get this brand new masterclass. It's completely free. It will blow your mind and has a ton of value, and it's about 40 minutes long. So make sure that you pay attention and take notes. Why am I sharing this? I'm a mentor to millions of men worldwide on YouTube. So I'm familiar with the biggest reasons why men today are failing in so many areas of their life. And the answer will rock your world, but it's not totally your fault. Find out what's really going on. Click the link in this video to watch this class and start taking action today.